Hi there everybody, my name is Aubrey and I had a total thyroidectomy and neck dissection 2 years ago along with radioactive iodine ablation. So I've been asked many times to give an update now that I have a little bit of distance from my procedures until now. So if you are currently on your own thyroid cancer journey, I am pretty sure most of you have been told what to expect a few years after your procedure. I ended up doing a lot of blood tests. I find that I'm doing them every month, every 2 months, because my medications are regularly in need of adjustment, which is something that I have been told you just have to get used to until you find that perfect equilibrium. So for me, about 2 years after my surgery, I knew that I was going to end up getting a scan of my neck. In this case, it was an ultrasound, and I ended up going in kind of expecting it to all be clear, mostly because of what everybody talks about when it comes to thyroid cancer and how curable it is and how easy it is to manage and all that. So I definitely let my guard down just a little bit too much because I went into my scan and I really did think that everything was going to be great and fine. However, over the last few months, I have noticed that there is some pressure building up in my neck. I do find that I feel some lymph nodes, and it definitely made me a little bit nervous, but for some reason I still kind of assumed everything was fine. So I went in for my 2-year scan, they checked my neck, and lo and behold, a few hours later, I did get a notification from my doctor saying that I had a handful of funny looking lymph nodes in my neck, which ended up with me needing to go in for some additional biopsies. Definitely was bummed about that. I found myself very nervous about the prospect of needing to do another surgery. But honestly more so the REI. Although of course REI really wasn't the worst experience in the world, I definitely didn't have a blast. I ended up with more long-term effects than I think I was expecting, which I'm still dealing with today. And of course, thanks to the medical system that we have, I ended up waiting for a couple months after that initial scan to finally go in for some biopsies. I ended up going in to the same doctor who did my 2 other sets of biopsies earlier in my process, and he was great as usual, very thorough. He ended up adding another lymph node into the biopsy set, so I ended up doing 8 total FNAs, aka fine needle aspirations, in my neck. It was definitely not the most pleasant experience. It took about an hour and a half of me lying flat on my back, but ultimately I really don't actually have too many problems with the FNAs. If you're nervous about them, I can tell you they're not really that bad. The initial pain of the numbing solution is honestly the most painful part, and having to do it a bunch of times, that was not fun. But the actual FNA itself, it could be worse. If you are worried about this, just make sure that you're breathing very calmly through it and communicating with your doctor if you do experience any pain so that they can adjust the amount of numbing solution that they're putting in. So then, after waiting for the results of the 8 FNAs, I found myself just very scared and nervous, and also trying to think more positively about the fact that this could still potentially not be an issue. With the 8 FNAs, I also needed to go and get my blood's drawn yet again. All of my levels largely look okay. My thyroglobulin is, thank goodness, undetectable. However, my TSH wasn't exactly doing what my doctor thought it was supposed to do based on my medication regimen. So I am now kind of sitting here with a weird looking ultrasound, some funky looking test results, and now 8 FNA biopsies to wait for. So I'm sitting here very nervous, trying to think positively, trying not to catastrophize, and ultimately I did get the results of my FNA back, and they are miraculously all looking normal. So the discussion now is whether or not I need to do an excision biopsy, which would help them determine exactly why they look a little bit strange on imaging, or whether or not we should just sit here and just observe them. And now I'm kind of sitting here at a very strange junction in my cancer journey, where I don't quite have enough proof of active disease, but I also don't have quite enough proof to say that I have no evidence of active disease. So I will always be looking for disease, and there's always a chance that it could come back. And I think that that's something not enough people discuss, is that this is cancer, and cancer is cancer, and it can be very tricky to get rid of, and it can always return. So what people on my medical team have impressed onto me, and I will now impress onto you, is make sure that you never miss any of your scans, Make sure you're directly in contact with your doctor. Make sure that you ask about what other follow-up might be useful for you, because in reality, the best medicine truly is preventative medicine. I wish that I could say that this isn't scary or uncomfortable, but that's kind of the reality of managing most, if not all, chronic diseases, and papillary thyroid carcinoma kind of falls in that category. Ideally, I get to a point that there's no active disease and I can go on with my life just getting kind of regular background tests and not worry about it. But at this current moment, I do still feel a lot of scanxiety. I have been told many, many times that if there's going to be a cancer you want to get, it's thyroid cancer. I just want to say, if you don't feel that that is true in your case, I see you and I validate you, because this has become kind of a part-time job for me over the last 2 years. And I look back over the last 2 years of my life and I don't feel resentful, I don't feel angry, I don't feel, that I was slighted by the hand I was given, because fundamentally I'm so grateful that I've had such an amazing team and a fantastic support circle around me. But at the same time, would I choose to have cancer? Absolutely not. And I don't know many people who would. So if you do find yourself feeling a bit exhausted by the constant toxic positivity of, well, at least it's thyroid cancer, and you don't necessarily feel that great all the time, that's understandable. I definitely find myself fatigued a lot, and I feel like I can be both grateful and hopeful while also being a little bit sad and mourning the life that I had before this diagnosis. I don't feel like those are mutually exclusive. So I think it's just part of the holistic experience of dealing with chronic illness and dealing with cancer and dealing with changes in your life in general. So fundamentally, I hope that even though this isn't 100% happy, that it at least puts some of you at ease or allows you guys to feel heard and seen. This disease isn't always as straightforward as people want to make it out to be. So if you find yourself struggling, being overwhelmed by the process, having a lot of negative feelings about the diagnosis and the journey you are either on or about to go on, make sure that you take care of yourself. Communicate with your friends, your family, your medical team. Reach out to other groups, such as the Facebook groups that I will link down below, who are absolutely imperative at helping me manage my mental health through this whole debacle. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, or just want to connect with other people who have thyroid cancer, feel free to hang out in the comment section below or check out all of those groups that I'm going to be linking in my description box, because fundamentally the best way to navigate cancer is with other people on your team. And thus concludes my 2 years with cancer update. And yeah, thank you guys so much for your constant support here on YouTube, and I'm looking forward to being able to continue to post things about thyroid cancer as well as my other stuff, which is my main career, aka singing. So feel free to stick around for that too if you're curious. Thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you guys again soon.